What's up, guys? It's Missy. I'm back with another SimCity Build It video, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about the more random tips that don't get brought up as often. So if you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. I'm going to go through this list hopefully pretty quickly. Some of the things you guys might know already, but for a lot of you, a lot of this stuff is going to be relatively new, especially if you haven't been playing for at least like 5 years. So the first item on the tips list is and this one I know you guys know if you watch a lot of my videos, but if you pre-pack the boxes for these shipments, you have to wait until the timer ends in order to request a new shipment. So if I was to donate the tires, for example, this button would go gray and I wouldn't be able to request a new shipment if I wanted to. Definitely want to remember that in case you're doing a contest of mayor's assignment and you can't find an item, so you pack 2 of the boxes, you end up, unable to find an item, and then you're screwed because you can't hit new shipment, so you gotta wait. So don't do that. And that brings me to the next tip, and that is collecting war rewards for tasks. I had a player last round, and she had a gold keys task, and then she had a war chest task. So she ended up wanting to, because we lost the war, and when you lose war, you're guaranteed to get 5 gold keys. And she knew that, so she was like, okay, I'm going to collect on the gold keys, right? But to do that, you have to go to the war screen. So what she ended up doing was she went to the war screen, and she hit collect rewards here, and it automatically opens that part and then the chests. It doesn't allow you to go back once that menu is popped up. So start your gold key task, right? Do that one first, because it's going to automatically give you those rewards first. The person's going to pop up and say, here's your rewards. The only way to leave that menu so you can go back and start your chest task is to close the game, because the game doesn't allow you to go back. So you're going to want to completely shut down your game, go start your chest task, and then go back and collect it. Now, the next tip is the pass rewards, and I've talked about this in my videos several times, but when you do this pass and you're playing the contest of mayors, it's a good idea to utilize everything in this pass that you possibly can towards your assignments. So let's say you had a gold chest reward here, and you had an assignment for a gold chest. You could do that and get it from the pass rather than having to actually earn a gold chest. So you're going to definitely want to utilize all of these rewards if they can be used within the contest of mayors. This Omega Coins task, that one's easy to fulfill when you have one of these. Now, let's say that you aren't anywhere near an upgrade. So maybe you need 15 of each dozer, you have none, and you're seeing that you can collect 3 dozer from the pass, right? Well, a lot of people will collect that, and then it ends up sitting in their storage. So it's actually better if you leave it sitting in the pass, because it's like your own little personal storage unit. You know it's there, and you don't have to collect it and have it use up space. Also, if you at any time don't collect all of your rewards, the pass ends, you don't lose those rewards because you didn't collect them. They are automatically put into your inventory, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, the deeds, these things here, the third one over, you also want to pay very close attention to those, because let's say that you're doing a beach upgrade and you're over here and you've clicked your beach upgrade slots, right? And it says that you need 5 of each beach. and you collected the deed, but you have 5 of each beach items that you want to use to unlock the spot, and you want to save your deed, you're not able to do that. The game forces you to use the deed first, which again would mean you don't want to collect on this, right? Until you know that you're out of items. And it's also a good idea to put the deeds towards your higher quantity land spaces that need unlocked. So if you have one for 8 land and another one for 15, you're definitely going to want to use the deed on the level 15 unlock. The regional coin reward here is completely random, but I try to start the task, travel to the map in which I'm going to be earning the coins in, and then trying to collect the regional pig here. Now, you're not guaranteed that it's going to go for that specific map, but it definitely seems to increase the odds. I have no proof that that actually does increase the odds, but I've had it happen many times when I travel to the map and had it way less times when I don't travel. Next tip is leave your tokens uncollected in the past. Now, there is no actual assignment to collect on your tokens, so it's a good idea if you leave them uncollected, especially if you are somebody who has a lot of epic projects. Because the game only allows you to collect 35 tokens at any time, that is the purpose for this. Now, what I mean by that is if you have 35 tokens, you're unable to collect the token pieces off of the buildings. But if you win tokens, you can exceed the amount of, you can exceed 35, which means that you have to go and, let's say you have 50 tokens. You have to use up 51 tokens before you can start collecting your token pieces, because you have to fall below 35 tokens. If you're somebody like me, you have a lot of epics, it's probably a good idea if you don't, like, let's say you're at 35 tokens, and then you go collect 7 from the pass. You just made it harder and longer for you to have to not be able to collect the ones on your building. Whereas if you would have left it in the past, you would have been able to collect the ones on your building and then got those when you fall below or when the actual pass ends. Now, the next thing on the pass is the golden tickets. You definitely only want to use those when you're in the Mega League or if it's double points week. Or if you have like a shit ton stocked up and you think you have a really good chance at winning the Metro League, then go ahead and use a few to secure your placement. I don't recommend using them in the really low level leagues because those they're really not that great on prizes, and you guys should be able to hit the top relatively easily without having to use all of your tickets. If you're somebody that does the contest of mayors simply for unlocking the actual pass and not playing competitively, then definitely you're going to want to use your tokens. Definitely every time, every round of Mega, but don't use them in the Suburban League. The 60% off thing here is for the $4.99 coin pack. The 20 gold keys. So any gold keys tasks you can put towards a gold key task, or rewards you can put towards that specific task. However, don't do that with this one. Don't do that with level 17. This one would be able to do 2 tasks, but you can't collect it. You have to collect them both at the same time, right? Unless you haven't purchased the pass yet. And in that case, if you haven't purchased it yet, you can do the gold chest, and then after you purchase the pass, you'll be able to collect the gold keys. Otherwise, you're going to want to do the gold chest task. Don't use for keys because you can just launch VU to do that. The temp storage you're going to want to obviously collect right away so that you have more storage space available to you. And then, you can just go through anything that you can apply to your assignments within this pass should be applied. It'll make your life a little easier. All right, let's say that the next tip, let's say that you are conversating with somebody in your group and you're doing a rare trade. And if you don't know all the players in your group and they aren't necessarily trustworthy, if somebody logs out immediately during your rare trade and then you notice that Global all of a sudden bought your item and you didn't have anything on Global, right? So you're kind of going, well, what the fuck? How did Global access my depot? Well, look and see if anybody recently left your group. Leave the money uncollected in your depot. So like this, you're going to see the group symbol with the name if somebody from your group purchased it. However, if somebody leaves the group, buys your item, and then returns to the group trying to be all slick, right? No, because if you leave the money uncollected, it goes from Global to a group member, and it will show you who purchased it. And that way, you know who your thief is. So leave it uncollected. You'll also notice that maybe you had a bunch of stuff posted for group members, so your depot was full. You had nothing on Global, and you go back to your depot, and you see that a bunch of Global purchases have been made, right? That can tell you that somebody joined your club, purchased stuff from you, and then left your club. And that's a pretty good indication of if it's a regular person that comes and goes or if it's just a complete random person. You can also know when someone changes their name. So a lot of people will come in, they'll do a rare trade, they won't, put up their end of the deal. They take off, they try to come back in with their name changed, and there's a way that you can know for sure if they have in fact done that. One way is obviously if you recognize their city or their city stats. So when you pull up any city name like this, right? You're going to pop up with a profile here. And if you knew like his city description or maybe his level and pop or whatever, you can identify them that way. But another way is, let's say that they stole something, right? And when they leave the group, it puts a notification in the chat that says so-and-so has left the group. Now, if you click on that, or if you click on one of their recent chat bubbles like that, it'll tell you their new name. So when they join in, you can be like, yeah, okay, I know who you are, right? Also, if they've contributed towards your group chest, their name will not change on that leaderboard. So it's going to show that name in this part of the screen, but it'll show you their updated name when you click on their actual profile or the chat bubble. All right, let's see. What else do we got here? I'm sorry, I'm trying to read my list. Give me just a sec here. Okay, so this one works if you are a senior or vice president in a group. Let's say that you go to somebody's depot, you're shopping and you run out of space and you don't want to leave because you want the stuff that they're posting. Maybe it's a bunch of rare items or whatever, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to look at the top of your screen here whenever you travel to somebody's city. I'm going to show you guys. But what you're going to do is you're going to look at their city name, and it'll show a little shield up in the top right corner. And if that is grayed out, then that means they are not in a club. You click this little I right by their name, you hit the club tab, and you'll see an invite to club button there. What you can do is invite them to the club, travel back to your city, quickly empty out some space, and then you'll be able to use that notification in the chat where it says so-and-so was invited to the club. You'll be able to click that. It'll pop up their profile and you'll be able to travel back to their city. And that way you're able to buy the rest of what they had up, especially if it's rare items, right? That brings me to my next tip, and that is when purchasing rare items. Let's say that you see a camera advertised on the global market, for example. You go to their depot, you click it, and it says so-and-so has already purchased it, or, well, it doesn't say that. It just says that the item was already purchased. Then you click the next box, and it does the same thing. So you know that someone is currently there buying the stuff. It would be a good idea to, let's say that you had 6 slots that were advertised. They all have 1 rare item each, for example. You have better luck of actually obtaining more of them if you click from right to left, not from left to right. Everybody always purchases from the left to the right. So you can guarantee that you're going to get more of them if you do it the opposite way. Next tip, and that is when you're posting items for sale in your depot. If they're items that are harder to sell, it's usually a good idea to scramble the price up just a little bit. You're not really going to lose a whole lot of coin, maybe 10 coins or something. But it screws with their brain, and they think they're getting the item for like base price or for a deal. So they purchase it, that way they can go post it for max. They don't realize that they only got like a 10 coin discount. Now, the best method when lowering the price is not to lower it by 1. Everybody always lowers it by 1, and that's really obvious. When you have 5 gnomes posted for 8,000, right? You knock it down to 1, that's 7,999. 9s don't make it look like you get a good deal, and it's very obvious that you lowered it by 1. But if you double your numbers and you do something like 7878, right? You haven't lowered it too much, but they know definitely that they're getting some kind of a deal. Now, the best way would be to leave the last number as low as possible before the 0, because a 0 makes it look like that's the legit price, right? A 9 makes it very obvious that you only dropped it by 1. But if you put it at 5 or below, they're definitely going to think they're going to get a deal. So 7171, people are going to buy it faster than if you put 7999 or 7979. So try to keep the numbers low. All right, next one. Camping your depots. Let's say that you have a decent amount of space unlocked, or you have a decent amount of space available, right? And you're at somebody's depot and they've had rares for sale. Wait and see, just camp their depot for just a few minutes and see if they post anything else. Oftentimes, low-level players will post like 1 dozer item. It'll sell immediately and they'll be like, wow, that was some quick money. And so they post another one right after. And then you purchase it and they're like, damn, that sold quick. So they do it again and again and again. And it's a good way to get some rares, definitely. And that has happened way more than one time. That happens all the time. So definitely camp your depots. Also, click low-level items when you're trying to find rare items. Lower level players have a tendency to not see the true value of their rares, so they constantly post them for sale. Definitely click on metal and wood. You'll have a higher chance of finding rare items. The VU tower. Okay, this is my next tip. Let's say that you're missing the VU items needed to launch. A lot of players will click on the Neo Mall and they will buy it from the Neo Mall. And when they don't have enough coins, it'll prompt them with something that says, buy it with cash, the remaining balance of the Neo. You're not buying the VU item with cash so much as you're buying the currency. So you end up spending more if you have to pay for the difference in coin than you would if you were to go to the VU tower. The maximum you're going to pay for a VU item is 20 bucks. So what you would do is you would drag over your disaster here, and let's say I was missing the 2 gloves. When I click this over, it's going to pop up a screen that says pay 40 cash because they're 20 bucks a piece, right? Then I would be able to launch. So you can always buy the missing VU items for 20 bucks a piece. I've seen people buy Dozer, for example, with cash, right? And then trade them to somebody in their club for VU, when they really didn't need to go through all that when they were paying the cash anyways. They could have just paid the cash for the VU items. All right, Sim Bubbles. They offer a decent markup on sales relatively easily. If you look around your map, you'll see all these little coins that pop up, and you want to do the math on it and see if it's selling for more than you can sell it for in your depot. And this is actually used quite a bit in the burger farming method. Okay, so burger farming, you buy a stack of burgers for base price or whatever you can get it for, even if it's max price. And what players will do is they'll stack up a ton of burgers in their depot, like 50 or 60, right? And then they'll see these sim bubbles pop up, and they can do, I believe, up to a 30% markup. So that's how people are able to make money burger farming. They wait until the sim bubble pops up and offers them a lot more than what they bought them for. Next thing, your taxes do not stack up over a course of anything beyond 24 hours. So some people think if they haven't played the game in like 2 years, they're like, oh, I'm going to have so much money when I get back. No, you're going to have the same amount you would have earned after 24 hours. It stops counting. Same with tokens. They don't stack up. You know, if you don't collect them off the top of the building, they don't stack up more than one token. Now, the next thing is if you're trying to sell Omega items to the sim bubbles that pop up. First thing is a lot of people will be frustrated because they notice that they're not getting any bubbles to pop up. Well, that's because usually it won't pop up until you're at least 75% full on your inventory for your Omega items. So in my case, I usually notice that they go up for sale right around the quantity of like 20 or 25, right around there, because I have like a 35 items unlocked or whatever, so, or 35 space. Also, you're going to be able to get your Omega bubbles to pop up for the Omega style stuff. In this case, I left one of my drones out and one of my control nets out, and that way I can get it to pop up more often. Oops, sorry. Oh, that's another tip. When you click on this here, if you're somebody who purchased the promotion all the way to the right, where it says Sims Cash for 30 days, that counts as a day whether you collect on it or not. So if you purchase this and you think, oh, I haven't collected it in, you know, a couple of days, so I'll have 27 left or whatever, you know, no, it's going to add up. It's going to take a day from you whether you cash it out or not. So you definitely want to make sure you're collecting that every single day. Omega homes will offer currency, little coins that sit on the top of the buildings. Those, again, they do not stack up. Once they hit a maximum, that's it. You don't earn anything more until you collect them. Epic category. A lot of people want to know what category their epic belongs to because maybe they forgot, right? So what you'll do is you'll click on the building here, like this, and you'll see this little symbol right there to the left, how it has a little beach symbol. That means that it's a beach epic. The token, the type of token that it is very, very tiny, but you can see it down there right next to the 1 times, right? You'll also be able to see this little smiley face here. If you click on a building and it shows like a sad face, you know that you have an issue within that area. Maybe it's a road needs upgraded, or maybe they don't have enough services, right? Another thing is when doing the contest of mayor's tasks to repair damage, a lot of people make this mistake. They start the task and they repair the green hats. Those are for war. When you click on these, you'll notice that it gives you a war item in return for your items. These upgrades are usually very cheap, hence why you would want to do them regardless of if you're actually participating in the war, because as you can see here, you get a war item in return that sells for a total of $1,000. Aside from the one ammo box, that's the only war item that sells for more than $1,000. And that one sells for $3,000. So if you're somebody who's hurting for money, you can definitely donate like 50 bucks in items or whatever to get a $1,000 item in return that can be sold. Regional epics. A lot of people have trouble with regional epics because they don't know why they're not getting them. And in that case, you are not getting a regional epic to pop up because you don't have a fully upgraded regular home. That goes for your capital map as well. The only residentials that can be converted to epics are regular homes. That goes for any map. If you wanted to build regional homes on your capital map or a different regional map, all you have to do is buy the regional service. So like on this one, it's police, health, fire. On any of your regional maps, it's going to show you a regional button right where the police button is. You just have to place that type of coverage down and you can have any type of regional homes on any map. If you buy a building and you remove the requirements that were needed to purchase that building, you can put that one in storage. For example, I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. And this also goes to another tip that I have, and that is do not, especially if you're a low-level player and you had to do an upgrade for comm, do not bulldoze any of your Latin, Tokyo, London, all those types of homes until you have purchased all of the buildings that you've wanted. For example, a lot of you are going to want let's say the Eiffel Tower here. Now, I'll show you. So see how it's locked? I can't purchase another one because I don't have 10 Paris homes. So let's say that I put this in storage. I will be able to place it back down. It doesn't lock it once I put it in the storage unit. And then I can go here, place it back down, but I can't purchase a new one. If you are trying to locate something in the menu that is on your screen already, like let's say that you wanted to buy a new one of these restaurant parks, right? And you're like, damn, I can't remember what tab that belongs to. Well, a lot of people will sit there and they'll flip through and look for it, right? That's completely unnecessary. What you can do is just click the item like that, and you see the little symbol next to the name. You match that symbol up with right here, and it'll tell you what category it goes to. So similar as how you would identify your epics, right? So in this case, you saw the little trees with the river, which tells you that it's a landscape building. You can also hold down on the building, and it will automatically open the category that it belongs to. All right, let's see. Bulldozing sections of your roads instead of the entire street. Road upgrades are very expensive. You're definitely not going to want to do road upgrades, especially early on. If you have traffic jams, it will lower your happiness, which lowers your taxes, which honestly aren't really all that great anyway, but you definitely want your Sims to be happy, right? So the best thing that you can do is go watch my How to Never Upgrade Roads Again video, and you're going to push all of your traffic onto basically 3 roads that are nowhere near any homes, so the happiness will be unaffected. This will allow you to not have to do road upgrades anywhere else on your map ever, unless you move those 3 roads or anything on those 3 roads. Let's see, hang on just a sec here, you guys. Okay, so bulldozing sections. I show this in a couple of my design videos. All right, let's say that you have this situation here, right? And okay, better example right here. See how the middle of this one is upgraded. It has the little trees. It costs $6,000 to do an upgrade on that one section. If I didn't want to bulldoze this one section, but I wanted to get rid of this part of the street over here, all you would do is you're going to draw a point between the two. And then bulldoze wherever it is whatever section you wanted to bulldoze without bulldozing the rest. So I would bulldoze right there, right? And then I would be able to keep the rest of my road. Let's say this road was, going that way. Then you would be able to do that without having to bulldoze the entire street, which is very helpful actually, because those damn things cost a lot of money. All right, next thing. Oh, by the way, if you bulldoze roads that were Omega roads, you only get your Omega currency back. You don't get your regular coins back. You get half of the cost. Okay, so every 24 hours you are going to get a new epic project. However, I believe they recently lowered that to 12 hours. So what you'll do is you'll have a fully regular upgraded home, and it will pop up like a hat with flying wings on it, and it'll say start epic project. Once you've completed it, you'll have a cooldown period. During this cooldown period, you can click your token tower here, right here, and you'll get like a timer up at the very top of this screen, and it'll tell you when your next one is. Once your next one has popped up, the timer will disappear. Okay, so the next one is, let's see. The Maxis Manor is going to give you 1 VU item a day that you can purchase for an obscene amount of coins. But the way that the Maxis cost, what the hell? Why that happened? The way that the Maxises work is you can purchase 4 of them on your capital map, and they're very expensive, by the way. Then you can purchase 1 per regional map. And that's how that works, in case anybody wanted to know that. Let's see. Your Contest of Mayor's Regional HQ, your shipments. If you are somebody who does the earn regional coins tasks, or the tasks where you have to complete a certain amount of shipment rows, what you'll do is you'll have a cooldown period on that as well. Oftentimes, let's say you haven't even went over to your regional map in a week or something, right? And you get this task. So you're like, oh, I want to go see when my flight comes in. It's kind of like, with the airport. It's not the same as the airport. The airport, it will start and then it'll be on a cooldown. You never know if it's going to be on a cooldown when you go look at it. But the regional HQ is different. If you haven't touched it since the cooldown period, then what'll happen is once you click it, the timer will start. So it's always going to be pretty much ready for you. So people will go and look and they'll be like, oh, cool, it's ready. Now it's ready every time you click it, as long as you've went through the cooldown period. It doesn't like start up and stop like it does with the airports. All right. This one is actually a pretty rare tip. If you're not an Omega person and you do not want to play the Contest of Mayors competitively, but you want to play for the pass, here's the thing here. You have to have a certain amount of Omega homes in order to purchase these resources. You only need 3 to purchase the resources. Now, in order to unlock all of these labs, you have to have a certain amount of homes, right? So when you hit the government tab, it'll say, I need, well, that's $2,000, but it'll say 64 Omega residential buildings for me to purchase the next lab, which apparently they upped to 10. I don't recall it ever being that high. I thought it was 6. Huh. Anyways, 10. So if you're not an Omega person and you don't want to do Omega tasks, don't even build these things because you're not able to put them in storage, which means you're stuck with them on your map. So if you don't want to be stuck like me with these stupid damn things, don't put them out. They are going to be needed, though, if you want to play the Contest of Mayors to actually win the Contest of Mayors. Especially if you're at that point, because Omega unlocks at level 30, and that's my next tip, and that is if you want to play competitively, don't go to level 30. Stay below level 30, you'll have a higher chance of winning. And you won't have to spend as much cash because this is one of the worst assignments, is doing those canisters. All right. We've already talked about the war cards in another video, so now we're on to, let's see. Okay, yeah, so this one. Let's say you have a feeder city, right? Or maybe you're posting for a group member or something. Do not ever post more than 5 rares at a time without purchasing them. The game has been basically blocking people from being able to see the rare items. So one of my members had done, what was he doing? He had a feeder and he was farming rares for his capital, right? And he had went through and he had like 50 or something dozer wheels or some shit. And he had posted them all on his feeder because he wasn't in a club and he didn't have anybody on his friends list. So he was able to put them, aside from himself, he was able to put those up for sale, and he went over to his feeder to purchase them and he couldn't see them. And he's like, well, what the fuck? They're there. So he made sure he had an internet connection, all was well, and it never uploaded those items to be visible to him. He ended up adding me onto his Facebook to see if I could see them, and I could not see them either, right? So it was a pretty big loss when you lose 50 fucking dozer wheels that you can't, you spent all day searching for. Next time, or, if it's something that you've experienced as well, next time what you should do is post 5, buy 5. Post 5, buy 5. Don't post a bunch. You will lose them. All right. Next thing. Okay, I already told you guys about not paying for road upgrades. All right, this is more of a myth so much as it is a tip, and that is pop boost buildings affect happiness. No, they don't. Okay? The pop boosts have nothing to do with your people being happy. It only increases the amount of people that you have. And in that way, if you have too many people, then your happiness would go down because you wouldn't have enough services. But that's not the same thing. Pop boost doesn't affect your actual happiness. Okay? Storage unit has an invisible pollution square on it. For those of you who don't know, if you're at 99 happiness and you cannot figure it out, that is why. All of your services suddenly went red, right? And you're like, okay, what did I do? What happened? You obviously don't have something connected to a road. Maybe you knocked out a bridge or recently moved roads around, or maybe you moved a home and you put it on a road and you didn't realize that that road wasn't connected to your services. So that house, once you pick that house up and put it back, then you'll know. The best way to diagnose that issue and figure out what's causing it is to click on your government tab here, and you'll see all these smiley faces, right? you'll see whatever home it is that's causing the issue will have a mad face or a sad face or whatever. And then you'll go, okay, if it's this home, what's causing it? And then you can sit there and mess around with it and see, oh, okay, it doesn't have a road hooked up to it or something, right? All right, next thing. Oh, okay, yeah. So this one, if you have a road that needs upgraded, for example, I'll show you guys. And you guys should have set your roads up to where they never need upgraded or affect your happiness. But in this case, let's say that you haven't yet. See how this one's red? If I pick this up and I place it down, all of a sudden, that road is not red, right? Because you've lowered the population on that stretch of road. So that's one way to get rid of that notification. Then set your roads up to never need, upgraded. Okay. Myth. Algorithm is affected by storage. Not true. Okay. It is not. And also the conspiracy theory that people come up with the game knows what I need and doesn't give it to me, and all of a sudden I need it, and no. That's just no, does not happen like that. What it is you're noticing it. So you'll notice, for example, that maybe you're doing an epic project and you need 25 bread rolls, or let's say it's 25 watches, right? So you ask your teammates for some watches. Nobody can find them. You can't find them. I can't find them. Nobody. The game doesn't know what you need and keep you from getting it in that sense. Because if it was, then it would have to affect my game as well, because it must know that I know you need something. No, that's not true. It just so happens to be that you're looking for it so you don't notice it. You also have to take into account that you probably have several homes, right, that are requesting items and flights and things like that you didn't even notice those items. So if you were to go look at, let's say, a different house upgrade, and it was to ask for 4 different items, and you see those items all the time, right? It doesn't know which house upgrade you're working on to be able to keep you from getting that. So it's definitely a conspiracy theory, but it does suck. I can assure you that. Now, an epic project is a little bit different. The epics will definitely seek out what you don't have. So whatever you don't have in your inventory, somewhere near the end of your epic, it's going to ask you for 97 of them. But that, again, that's different. That's not algorithm on like your global market. All right. Let's see. Oh, okay, so this is a war tip for you guys. And there's a couple of them here. So the first thing is, this is how you're going to do your war deliveries. If you hold down on this thing here, it'll tell you which cards are, that specific item uses. But it'll also tell you how many you have in your storage. And that goes the same as your shop slots. You can see how many you have in storage right there. You can use these yellow arrows to navigate between shops. That way you don't have to collect items that are done without, you can place an item down without having to collect them like that, by using the arrows. All right, so back to the war thing. You see this little star here? It'll tell you when war ends. And then you see that little eye. You can click that and it'll tell you which cards you are able to launch. All right, let's go to the war shop here for a second, or the map. So right here, if you click on someone's city, you see how it says active battle booster. That slows down energy production by 4. Well, if I want to know who put that there, I just have to click the little eye and it'll show me. And it says that Killing Time, so he's somebody in my group, he did a doomsday attack, and then he did the energy vampire times 3 or whatever, the third one. Okay, so if we wanted to see which one that was, then you would go here and you would be able to see it, right? If you want to see who's hit you, you can go over here, do the same thing, and it'll show you who's hit you, and it also shows your current war score. So right here, he has 100 points, right? Definitely going to want to launch at least one time, no matter what, because if you don't get any prize. And there is a prize that's put out when you win the war, and then there's one put out when you lose the war. So if you don't launch at least one, you forfeit your prize. The war store, some of you might notice it's not available to you yet. That is because at level 6, I believe it's level 6, you unlock the monster in the water. This allows you to unlock war cards and war items. However, the monster, when you click on the actual screen for the monster, it'll show you the war store icon. However, if it's your first war, when you go to your war map, the war store should not be visible until after you've completed your first war. At least not in that screen specifically. So, okay. That is the VU boat. Okay, that's interesting. That pass, by the way, just a heads up, when you do this pass, if you purchase the first pass and you want to go on to the second, you have to pay again. You don't get the second pass, which is really kind of bullshit, to be honest. So hopefully they, I don't know, add better rewards in the second round. I don't know if they do or not, but it's an absolute ripoff, I think. Okay, the sports building that was a hot spot we got a couple weeks ago. It was the Golden Stadium. It's on my cactus map. I'm going to show you guys. It requires 20,000 Latin population before it can be upgraded. This one's upgraded with 30 gold keys, and you need 20,000 Latin pop. So somebody I had noticed on one of the Sims groups, he was complaining that he had to upgrade Latin homes on his map because he didn't have enough Latin population on that map to upgrade his building. And that he had plenty on all of his other maps, but not the map that he had it placed in. So he was pissed that he had to level up, right? And I'm like, well, why didn't you just put the building in storage and put it on the map you had enough population in, upgrade it, store it, and put it back on the map that you wanted? So yeah, he felt pretty stupid when he realized, yeah, I probably should have done that. So definitely don't get fooled on that one. Okay. Let's see. Shield Buster. Yes, it works on an umbrella, just so you know. If you have people on your friends list that you have recently unfriended and you don't want them on your friends list anymore, all you have to do is click the settings button here, hit log out of Facebook, and then log back in, and it will sync your friends list. That way you don't have to deal with people buying from your depot anymore. Okay, let's see. You can only have one epic project going at a time, but you can start one on a different map immediately, but the cooldown goes for your capital map, or whatever map that you had done it on. All right. Let's see. Contest a mayor's loop. At the end of the contest, with the last 10 tasks or so, it's very common to get repeat tasks. If you notice you're in an assignment loop, do not cancel, because what's going to happen is, let's say you get a launch 3 VU and then an upgrade 3 home. And every time you cancel the upgrade home, you get an upgrade 3 VU. It's just going to keep doing that to you, and you're going to waste your assignments. So if you notice that you're in an assignment loop, don't fall for that. And I have videos on all that stuff. Now, here's another one. This is more of a design tip, okay? So over here at the back of my map, you can see how there's water all the way to the edge of my map. Somebody asked me the other day how I was able to put that water there. And I was like, well, gee, I don't know. So I went and picked the water up and tried to place it down, and I couldn't. Then I realized, oh, okay, if I move this, right, you see how there's no water on it now? It's only got that one. If I remove the water here, there's no water. But if I put it back where there is water, like that, it fills it in. But if you don't have water already there, it's not going to fill it in. Okay? If your bridge is like, if it looks like this, see how it's not flat on the right side. It's kind of like it's waiting for another piece to be placed. That is because I have water in front of it. If I move it, it will recognize it as done and complete, and it will drop that down to where it looks correct. Okay. Let's see. Video ads for factories, you low-level players, when you're doing your like textiles or something, all of a sudden you get this thing pop up. It's an ad, and then it's over, and all of a sudden you have items done in your factories. You do not get that feature as you level up. I'm not 100% sure when that stops, but it does stop for sure. Expansion tasks are pretty frequent. If you cancel those, you'll probably end up canceling more and more and more of them, so it's probably a good idea to leave that one sit. Let's see. Oh, when you look at your menu here, you will see the cost, the epic points, all that good stuff. If you're not level 24, you will not see the epic points section there. So I put up a video for you guys, for you low-level players. That way you can see which epic pointers you want, or which buildings you want based off your epic pointers, because it's kind of stupid that they don't show it to you early on, because it's a good way to prep, right? So if you know you're going to want mountain epics, right, then you're definitely going to want to know which buildings to buy ahead of time. And that's the next tip, and that is don't buy anything ahead of time unless you absolutely want it or need it, or it's limited time with your plat keys. Plat keys are really hard to get, and oftentimes people will buy stuff that is in the menu all the time, when then something limited time comes up and they don't have enough currency for it. So only buy the limited time stuff until you have a nice stockpile and you can afford to buy the things that are always in the menu. Keep in mind that anytime around the holidays is going to be a good time to save your currency, and it's also going to be a good time to search the global market for rares. People always put their rares up for sale right around the end of the contest because they get their rewards, and around the holidays. All right, next thing. Okay, population. I had a guy in my group and he was like, oh, well, why does the population increase when I do this, but not when I do it on my other categories? And what's happening is the landscape pop will move prior. See, look at the top left corner of my screen. See how it's moving and I haven't placed it? People don't realize that. It only does it in the landscape tab, and it's not actually giving you that population until you place it down. But it doesn't do it for the other tabs, see? Just landscape. Okay. Let's see. See. Sorry, you guys, I'm reading through my notes here. Okay. If you have Omega homes, okay, so for instance, if you're somebody who plays the contest of mayors, right? and you have, let's say you're like me and you have a bunch of labs unlocked and you're producing small, medium, and large canisters, but you only make them for the purpose of the contest. If you're somebody who does not want to build Omega, you're just doing it for calm. Bulldoze all of your Omega homes when you're done buying what you need for your labs, right? And whatever you need for your resources. And then what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to make only small canisters. Now, yeah, you are not going to get, you know, the larger ones and benefit from the possibility of having a larger canister appear and giving you better items or whatever. But you will be able to save a ton of time and cash on those comm assignments because you'll be only producing small cans. And in that case, those are like a $10 max or something to unlock, and they only go for like an hour and a half max. So definitely do that. And then if you end up wanting to buy more resources, you'll be able to, all you have to do is put down 3 Omega homes, which are really easy. They only cost 1 item to upgrade. Place 3 down, buy whatever resources you need, and then you can either keep those there or bulldoze them. Now, keep in mind that anytime you buy these resources, they go up in price. They go up by 10,000 Neo-Simoleons at a time. They cannot be stored, and they do not start over on price based off of what map you're on. If it costs 60,000 in your capital, it's going to cost 60,000 in your regional. Okay. Factory, the Nano Factory, it does not produce them any faster. It does not provide any benefit aside from you can place it near homes because it doesn't have a pollution square. That is the only difference. And you're going to pay $30,000 more for that difference. So I only bought a few of them, and that was because I had them placed at the front of my city. So I wanted them to kind of match with the trees a little better because they look a little bit nicer. Okay, let's see. Get through this list here. Save data. If you collect, put your save data down, and you log into Facebook, you cannot override that save data. You can't delete it. So you're stuck with it. If you end up wanting to make a feeder or a different city or whatever, you're going to have to make a different Facebook to connect that to. But the good thing is you don't ever, lose your save data, so to speak. Now, I don't know 100% how it works on Apple, but I do know that if you guys are somebody who only have one device, you can download a cloning app, and I'm not sure on the exact name of one. I've never actually tried it, but I've seen a lot of people do it. They download a cloning app, they put SimCity on their phone, multiple times, right? And then they're able to run multiple cities on one device by using this cloning app. Also note that if you hack the game, you risk being banned to Naughty Island. That is a place where you're only allowed to play with other hackers. So it's probably not a good idea to hack a city if you don't want to be banned to that server. All right, next thing. I think that, okay, the purple flag symbol on your buildings here, and I've talked about this in my videos as well. When you click on, oh my God, that, see how it has a little purple flag? That means it creates city events. It's going to put a little parade. So let's see. It'll pop up a little parade on your roadway here, and they'll just kind of march around. There's several of the buildings that actually do this. We have one with like a donut parade, another one with the mechanical spider looking things. There's a bunch of them. This new home thing that they got going on, if you look at your house tab here, you'll notice that it only has a max pop of 300, which is ridiculous, by the way. Not that I'm even a fan of needing a lot of pop, but it's still ridiculously low. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to end this video. There is going to be a part 2 to this video once I get done with the list. So if you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I will definitely try to get part 2 out by tomorrow.